Hi everybody, welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. Welcome to the Knitting Turnpike. My name is Gina Pike. I'm so very happy that you're here with me today. Today we're going to be doing a vlog update. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I've done a few projects since I've last done one. So I'd like to share a little bit about what I've been working on. I was off on the month of September, still trying to catch up on comments and stuff, but I will do that. And what I like to do for my vlogs is I like to share what I've been working on, and I like to invite you guys to share what you guys have been working on as well down in the comments below. That's a way for us to share. I like to get to know what you guys like to work on or have been doing, and other people can read that as well. We're a nice community here, and we like to, you know, share, see what each other has been working on over the last month since we've done one of these. All right, so I have a few finished objects to share today, and I have a few whips to share today. So it might be a little bit longer today since it's been a while since I've done one of these. So you may want to grab something to drink and get comfortable. And let's just get into it and take our time and have a little bit of fun today. All right, so the first thing I want to share with you guys is in September, there was a mystery shawl knit along started. This was from Casapinka. It was called Sharon Air. I actually did a stitch tutorial when the first clue came out. I will link that down below. The one thing I was really excited about this shawl was that she said it was going to be a new shawl shape, and she didn't disappoint. It actually is a very interesting shawl shape. But for this shawl, I used 4 skeins of, not 4 skeins, I used 4 colors. I used 8 skeins because you needed 400 yards. Each skein's 200 yards. I used Knit Picks palette yarn, which is 100% wool, Peruvian wool. I used the colors Ice Lily, Peony, Victorian, and Boutique Heather. And you needed 4 colors for the shawl. And I showed my first clue along with Katia Hernandez. She showed her first clue. Now this shawl knits up like, here's my finished shawl. It's kind of big, so it's going to be kind of hard to show this. This is the shape of it. It started out like a triangular shaped shawl. The first couple of clues, get on the right side. Yeah. All right. The first couple of clues knitted up this triangular shape. You can see it has a center stitch, so it was knitted up like a triangular shape, and it has a lot of bringing in the colors. My Ice Lilies, this color, the Peonies, this little bit darker pink, then the Victorians, this rosy pink, and then the Boutique Heather, didn't use a lot of it, but it's this darker brownish pink color. So it was, the first 2 clues were knit up triangularly to here. Then when you got to the bottom here, you split their stitches. So like you had stitches over here, and then you had stitches over here. And she said put the stitches on a holder. Actually, it was this side that was put on a holder. I actually just left it on my knitting needle, and I brought a second knitting needle. I just left it on the needle because you're going to have to pick them up anyway. So I just left them on a knitting needle so that when we got to this side again, I wouldn't have to pick up the stitches. They'd already just be on a knitting needle. But we just knitted this side here, and we did all of these beautiful sections of color and texture. This is a really fun knit along because she is very, she's a fun, creative writer, and she brought in a lot of like we were doing a private investigation looking for this guy who stole some cashmere yarn with diamonds. It was actually not a guy, it was a worm. And it was really funny, but you can see the different yarns and the different textures. And then we did, I think this was through clue 4, and then it just ended, and we just did a regular bind off. But you can see how it does like a V shape here. So this is kind of like a long V. Can you see it? I'll insert a picture too, because that might be easier to see than me sitting here holding it. Now this, after we did this side, we came over here to where these live stitches were and then knitted this up. And this is not symmetrical, so it's not like what you do on this side, you do on this side. It's totally different, so it gives it some interesting textures. We did some more lace. We did some slip stitch color work. This is called upside down cat tracks. I think this pattern right here, this one, isn't that cute? I actually mixed up the end here. The end was supposed to be a block of this, and I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of hard once it's blocked, but before blocking there was some texture in this brown section, and I learned later that it was braille. The design was braille for gobshite free zone. That was the gobshite worm that we were all trying to find. And you can kind of see it, but not really. I'll put a picture before blocking. That's when you can really see the texture. And then I mixed up this in. Instead of, it was supposed to be one color, I brought all 4 colors back in. I alternated it, and you can see the texture there. And then I just ended it with color C, because I think on the other side, yeah, we had color C ended on the other side. So I just try to make it match a little bit like that. So I just try to make them match a little bit on the end. And then you just bind it off like that. And so that's what this looks like. It's a really nice long shawl. I love how the colors played together. It's one of those that you could really, I love it. It'd probably be great for church, because it's something you can really wrap up in like this and be warm. So, you know, it's a different shape, but it really does lend itself to allowing you to wrap up in it, which is kind of nice. I like that. So this is very interesting. That was the first finished object. That's the Sharon Air Mystery Shawl Knit Along. Finished that a few weeks ago, and I know Katia Hernandez was knitting that along with me. I'll see if I can find a picture of hers, her finished shawl, and insert that, because I know that I showed her first clue, and she was doing a lot of bright colors like blues and yellows and greens. The variegation yarns looked really pretty as well. People doing that. Alright, the next item I want to talk about was in September, Romi Hill decided she was going to do a one skein make-along. And what you had to do was she put a link to her site where she picked out some of her patterns. It was about 10 to 15 patterns that were all one skein shawls of hers. They were all her patterns, Romi Hill patterns, and they were all one skein shawls. And so I looked through those, and I picked out the I decided to make the pattern called FuchsiaNouveau-Petite, and I decided to use a gradient yarn in my stash. That was, oh, I didn't cut the end off of this. Forgive me for not cutting off the end. I should do that real quick. I decided to use a gradient yarn. I used Wool Effie gradient yarn. It was a merino silk gradient. Wool Effie is an Etsy store. She has a lot of beautiful lace weight and fingering weight gradients, sock gradients. This gradient is called Harmony. It goes from blue to purple to pink. And this is what my one skein, my FuchsiaNouveau-Petite looks like. Isn't that pretty? I was really pleased. I kind of had to force the blue, the color change from blue to purple. I had about probably another 8 grams of the blue, and I just cut it, and I force the purple, but the purple to the pink happened naturally. I didn't have to force that at all. Yeah, I really didn't cut the ends off of this. Oh, give me 1 second. I'll cut that end off, and I'll show you. Okay, the one thing I really liked, it started with a garter stitch tab cast on, but it was a lot different than normal. It had some yarn overs in there, and the one thing that was very interesting as well is that as you knit this shawl, you you bound off about every 4 to 5 rows, you bound off the edges, and it created this little triangular ridges along the edge here. So it gave it some texture, and there was also you can see a yarn over. So the edge of this shawl has this really beautiful texture, which is very interesting. You don't see a lot of shawls that have that kind of an edge. Again, you're just binding off a couple of stitches every few rows to create that little zigzag. And then here's the lace. I'll go slow so you can see what the lace looks like. It's not a very big shawl. Again, it's just a 1 skein shawl. It had a lot of really beautiful lace, leaves, and I love how the ending ended up with the pink. I was hoping I would get to the pink, and it did. So that worked out really nicely. And I was able to pull those points. I just did a super stretchy bind off at the edge and just pulled those points. And again, that's just a cute little, you can use this like as a little scarf, or like just something for your shoulders, you know. Or you can use it for a scarf in the winter. A little pop of color. But it's big enough actually for a small little shawl. And that was the second item. Again, that's the FuchsiaNouveau-Petite from the pattern is Romi Hill. And it's a merino silk gradient yarn, which I think worked perfectly with the pattern actually. Alright, the third item I made was, I did a stitch tutorial for this. This was a make-along that was hosted by the Never Enough Lace Group and Ravelry. I ran out of time. I didn't actually finish it in time to participate with their giveaways. But I did do a stitch tutorial for this. I will link it down below. Now this shawl pattern is by Maryna Radzko, and she's a Russian designer, I believe. And this shawl was probably one of the hardest shawls I've ever knitted. It is a charted pattern only, and the chart is only for half of the shawl. So you have to do half of you do it, and that's only half of it, and you get to the center stitches. The center stitches do rotate every other row, so they're changing up every other row. And then to get the other part of the shawl, the other half, you have to go backwards across the shawl. And you can't just copy it with a copier because it might switch. Like if you have an SSK and you do it backwards, it might switch the design. So you had to be careful with it. I just took my time and went back across it, and eventually I started getting the hang of it. Now this shawl you could do in 3 different sizes, small, medium, and large, and the way that you made it bigger was you just did chart. There were 4 charts, and if you wanted to make it bigger, you did chart 2 1, 2, or 3 times. I ended up I had enough yarn. Miss Babs Yearning Heavy Lace. It is 65% superwash merino, 35% silk. It is 1,200 yards for 195 gram skein. So it's a really big skein. So since I had 1,200 yards, I decided to go ahead and make the large size, and I ended up having about 40 grams still left over from that 182 skein. This is the shawl. If you can see it, it's super lacy. Started with a garter stitch tab cast on, and you carry that edge along the edge. Just that yarn over knit 2. And if you can see, I'll try to put a still picture as well, but you can kind of see how super lacy this is. And then the edging is very interesting. Again, the pattern is very similar because you're just repeating chart 2 over and over. So it's a lot of lacy leaves. And then you get, after you do chart 2, you get down to the border, which the border mixes it up a little bit and changes it up. And then when you get to the end, you could either do a super stretchy bind off, which is just a knitted bind off and pull the points, or you could do what I did, and I think I'm showing the wrong side on this. Of course I am. Yes. All right, so this is what it looks like, the right side. And what I did at the border was, instead of doing a super stretchy, I did a crochet bind off, where you would take, you had to follow it per the chart, but you would either take 2 or 3 stitches, single crochet them together, do a picot, and then you would do a chain in between those. And so it was like more like a crochet picot bind off, and you can see how it gives the small little picots, but it kind of jazzed up the edge a little bit, I think, by doing it that way. I still pulled them to some points for the edging. And this is a triangular shape shawl, so you can see it still has that center all the way down. I don't know if you can see it. It might be getting lost in the lace, but there is a center portion, and then it comes to a point, and then it comes up. Let me get behind the couch and show you. So if you take a look at it this way, now you can probably see how it is more of a triangular shaped shawl. And it's really big since I made the really large size. Again, this is Miss Bab's Yearning Yarn. The color is called Echo, which is a really pretty blue. And that's the last finished object I have. The rest of the items I have for September are whips. So let me get into that. Let me fold this up real quick. I'll get into that. I can't believe I finished this Sapphire Alluvium, because that, and I got to thinking about it. It's kind of funny. This is like Sapphire Alluvium, Sapphire colored yarn. I didn't plan that. Looks like I might have planned it, but I didn't. All right. The next item I did a stitch tutorial on this. This is called the Fair and Square. Now this is a crochet shawl, mystery shawl, crochet along. The pattern is by Lily Go. She is a knitwear designer and a crochet designer. She does a lot of shawls. There's a shawl of hers that I really want to do. I've done quite a few of her shawls. I've done, I'm trying to think of the names. I've done quite a few of her knitted shawls. I've done a few of her crochet shawls. I know I showed them. I did Eternal Flame. I did Blue Lagoon. The knitted ones, I'm not remembering the names, but I did a yellow and gray one knitted. I did a kind of sea green one that was knitted with beads. So I've done quite a few of her designs. I want to do her interview with a vampire. I think that's really cool. Now, the yarn I'm using for this is Hewitt hand-dyed fibers out of Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm using this color for the main color. This is called Sugar and Spice. Isn't that pretty? It's got pink, and it's got some maroon and a little bit of gray in there. And then you need a second color for the border, and this is also Hewitt hand-dyed fibers. This is their sock yarn. This is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. Again, Sugar and Spice is this color. This color is Raspberry Truffle, and that's the color I'm going to use for the border. Same yarn dyer. I thought they went really well together, even though I didn't buy them together. That same yarn dyer, Hewitt hand-dyed fibers, Raspberry Truffle, Sugar and Spice. Alright, so she is releasing the shawl pattern in 6 clues. We've done 5 of them. The last clue is going to come out Wednesday this week, so that'll be the last of it. This is what it's looking like. This is a beaded crochet shawl, and this is what it looks like. I'm making the size small. Now you can do an extra small, small, medium, and large size. And I only have enough yarn for the border for the small, so I made the small. I had enough yarn for the large, but I didn't have enough yarn for the border to make it any bigger than this. So this is what it's looking like. The yarn is probably a little busy. It's kind of hard to see the design, but you can see how it has the beads along the edge. It has a little decorative stitch. It makes a little bit of a flowery edge, and it's got the holes in there and the beads. The beads are going in a pattern. Like here, it's going diagonally, and then next here, and then also goes across. I don't know if you can see that with me being so close. And then at the top, it goes along the top as well. And it's just a cute little jagged edge. And again, I'm not sure exactly what the border is going to look like, but that's what's coming next this week. So I'm almost finished with it. And this is called Fair and Square. This pattern is called Fair and Square. If you want to go get it and maybe knit it or crochet it. We're still working on it. But it's Lily Go Crochet Mystery Shawl Knit Along Fair and Square. You can see how cute these little edges are with the little beads and the little stitching. Makes a cute little stitch there. Cute little edge. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so that's crochet shawl. Haven't done one of those in a while. There was actually a point during the make along which I thought I had messed. She thought I had messed up, and I was like, I probably did because I haven't crocheted in a while. And then we looked at it, and she's like, oh, you didn't mess up. I just miscounted. I'm like, okay, good deal. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is something that just started October the 1st. This happens every year. I just finished filming a stitch tutorial, so look for that. A stitch tutorial will be releasing for this. This is a mystery shawl knit along. It happens every year. This is the Halloween mystery shawl knit along from Boo Knits, Bev Johnson. This year, usually most years she does a crescent shaped shawl with beads. This is a crescent shaped lace shawl with beads, and I've done many of her shawls. For the Halloween ones, last year I did Lilith. Year before that I did Shadow Dancer. Year before that I did I can't think of the name of it. Moon. Oh, it's not Moon. I can't think of the name of it, but I did 3 Halloweens, annual Halloweens in a row. So this will be my 4th Halloween Mystery Shawl Knit Along for Bev Johnson of Boo Knits. And this year, this is called Bewitched. So be looking for that stitch tutorial. This is the name, Bewitched. Again, this is a crescent-shaped shawl, so it's longer across this way, and it's short, kind of in the middle. It's supposed to be 78 inches across, 20.5 inches this way. Beads, 2 types of beads. You need a 6/0 seed bead and maybe a 5/0 triangular shaped bead. I'm using 2 6/0 seed beads. I didn't have any triangular seed beads that are triangular shaped 5/0 beads that would work with the yarn I'm using. So I just picked 2 of my seed beads. I'm using a raspberry and a black. Let me show you this. Again, this is a spoiler, so if you don't want to see this, this is clue 1. This is the yarn I'm using. This is Miss Babs Dulcina yarn. And this is Miss Babs Dulcina is heavy lace. It is 70% wool, 15% cashmere, 15% silk. And this color is called Bloodstone, and it's 800 yards for 120 grams. So it's a heavy lace from Miss Babs. Isn't that a pretty red? All right, so let me show you the beads I'm using. We've only used the first bead for this clue 1, and I'm on the wrong side. This is what it's looking like. It's got a little bit of a pattern. It's got like a solid column here, a little bit of lace column, and then it's got a pattern. And then it goes to that column again and a little bit of a pattern. That's kind of what it's looking like. So far, you started with a garter stitch tab cast on. And I don't know if you can see the bead or not. It's just like a raspberry bead there. Maybe you can see it a little bit. And then the other bead I'm going to be using is just a black seed bead. So that'll go good with the red, I think. And that's the first clue. There's going to be 5 clues for this. And she moves pretty quick. This will be the last clue will already be distributed on the 17th of October. So she moves really fast on her mystery shawl knit-alongs. So those are all the things that I'm currently working on, have finished this last month, and have started for this month. The first one, the Bewitched, is a mystery shawl knit along that I will be showing you guys throughout the month of October. The other one is the Stephen West mystery shawl knit along Twists and Turns that will be starting October 6th, which is Thursday. Super excited about that. This year for Twists and Turns, you need 800 yards of a main color. You need 800 yards of an alternate color that goes with it, some kind of contrast with your main color, and then you need 400 yards of a color that pops with both of your other colors. So you need 3 colors, 800 yards, 800 yards, 400 yards. The pop of color is 400 yards. So this year I've been trying to put together my colors. I've been looking at all kinds of yarns and options, from blues, I have pinks, I have purples. These are all yarns out of my stash. This year I decided I would go out of my stash. I have a lot of yarn in my stash, so I'm trying to be really good. I actually did put together a kit and I gave it away. You guys saw that. If you guys saw that, that was in a giveaway I had, getting ready for Stephen West, and did that on the 24th. But then I've been trying to put together my kit, and I still have had a hard time with it. The other thing you can do is, after you look at your color wheel, you think about art, you think about things that you have in your wardrobe that will go with your wardrobe, what colors that you usually wear, that you like to wear. Obviously I like a lot of pinks. There's pink here. That's the hybrid knit along that's the Winter Lights shawl from 2 years ago. I got on pink now. And I had a pink shawl I showed you earlier, and I did the Sharon pink, so you guys know that I like pinks. But I looked at purple, pink, blues, blue greens, neutrals. I tried to figure out what could I do. Maybe last year I did blue green. I did the shawlography in blues and blue greens, and I really loved it. So wanted to kind of maybe do that again. I was like, oh, I don't know if I should do that again, because I did that last year. It might be fun to do something different, but I really do love those colors together. So I've narrowed it down. I took all of these. I've just showed you all these pictures of the colorways I've been trying to decide on, and I did a swatch. Now let me show you my swatch. Again, these are probably the colors I'm going to use. I'm looking at my main color is going to be this. This is Madeline Tosh Merino Light. This is called Copper Pink. Is the colorway. It's pink, but as you can see, it's got a little bit like pops of red in there. Makes it look a little bit like copper color. That's because I call it Copper Pink. I love this color. So I've got 2 skeins of that. The other color I'm going to use is from Suburban. I think this is my number 1 right now. It's from Suburban Stitcher, and this is called. This is her sock yarn, and this is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 460 yards, 100 grams, and this is maple. So I have 2 skeins of this, and you can see it's kind of a rusty pink with a little bit of purple in there. So, but I think these look so pretty together. So main color, other alternate color, and I'll show you my swatch at the end. I like it, but after I swatched it, my papa color was going to be this color. It's going to be a burgundy. This is from Miss Babs. This is a Yummy yarn. Yummy, which is, let me see what the Yummy is. This is Miss Babs Yummy yarn. It's 2-ply fingering, 100% superwash merino wool, 400 yards for 110 grams. And this color is called Devotion. And Isn't that such a pretty color? So, but when I swatch this is what it's looking like. Those are the colors I was leaning towards. When I was swatching it though, I really liked, that is my main color, that is my other color, and maybe this is my Papa color, because these colors have such a good contrast. So I haven't decided yet if what I'm going to do, if this is going to be my alternate color or if this one will be. If you guys have any thoughts about it, like to share them with me, I would love to hear your thoughts and suggestions down below. That'd be great. I do have another kit I put together just because I do love blue greens as well. Again, I did swatch this. That is another suggestion if you are having trouble like me. Knit a swatch. Just, you know, cake up your yarns. Just cast on a few stitches. Do a garter stitch. Alternate. Do like 2 rows of this color. Then switch and add the other color. Just carry it up the side. Add the Papa colors. And again, like I said, when I did that, I really liked this color as my other color instead of the maple. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. And I need to decide because October the 6th is in a couple of days. Now the other kit I could do is blue greens, which I love. This is Madeline Tosh Merino Light. This is Button Jar Blue. That would be a main color. And then my other color for contrast, this is such a good contrast too, is Madeline Tosh Merino Light in Cousteau. So it's a blue-green, dark blue-green. And then for my Papa color, I could use this Amanda Hope. This is her Aussie Extra Fine Merino yarn. And this is in Chartreuse. So it's a bright green. Let me show you what they look like together. Give me 1 second, I'll put this down. So it would be something like this. It'd be that color, and my that color, and this would be my Papa color. So I haven't decided yet. I just need to decide if I should do the blue greens again or if I should do the pinks. I did Winter Lights and pinks, but this is a different kind of a pink. It's got that dark maroon pink. Well, I guess there's a dark maroon on that one too. Sorry if I hit the camera. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to make a decision. Again, if you guys have any thoughts about it, I would love to hear, so just let me know. Anyway, I think that's all I have to share today. Don't forget, if you are if you want to share your whips with me, your finished projects, if you're things you might be working on for Christmas, I mean, Christmas is right around the corner. Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to read that. I'm going to try to get caught up on my comments. I've really gotten really behind on comments and emails, but I'm going to try to get caught up this month as well. So just let me know. I would love to read that and catch up with you and hear what you've been up to lately. I thank you for spending time with me. I enjoy spending time with you, and it's nice to get back into my routine and see what you guys have been up to lately. All right. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day. Please take care of yourselves. I will see you all very, very soon.